Welcome back to Alex and Annie, the Real Women of Vacation Rentals. I'm Alex.
And I'm Annie.
And we are back today for the June 1st bonus episode of the month. And as we say every month, it's just unbelievable that we're celebrating another first of the month episode. But here we are, and we've got some big news to share. So you'll want to make sure that you stay tuned to the end of this episode, just as a teaser.
Yeah, we've got a lot of exciting stuff to talk about today.
Yeah, so this episode, of course, it is June 1st. We are at the OPAM Resort for the VRMA Executive Summit, and so excited for this event. This is going to be today through Friday, and it is absolutely gorgeous, and it is going to be an excellent event. So basically, the Executive Summit, this is a smaller version of the VRMA events that is just tailored to VP, C-level, manager, employees within an organization. And they go a little bit deeper into some of the topics that aren't always discussed necessarily at conferences, or just in more detail. So we are going to be on site. Actually, this is part of one of our announcements. We are going to be on site to interview the brightest minds in the industry and get their take on this event. And so we've partnered with VRMA to be there for the event. We're going to be set up with our little chairs and a table and a banner that has Alex and Annie and VRMA on it. We're super excited and very appreciative of VRMA for agreeing to let us have this opportunity. So we're going to be down there. We can't wait to interview everybody. We've got a few planned, but if you would like to give your take on the event, please just come up and find us. And we're so excited to just hear from everybody while we're there.
Yeah, so I think the really neat thing about it is our friend Simon, he's going to be facilitating it, and we have set up
Simon Lehmann.
Not
yes. Everybody knows our friend Simon.
Not sorry, yeah. He'll be the facilitator of the entire event, and we've gotten a sneak peek of the agenda, and the agenda is pretty robust, and I think it's good topics, it's timely topics, it's important information, and I think everybody's going to walk away with some really great ideas of how they make their business better.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to focus on the content on technology, mergers and acquisitions, business development, operations, and as Simon says, the most important part, the human capital that fuels the growth of each of these critical areas. So really excited. I think there's going to be some great speakers and great panels and topics there. So that's going to be a great event. Besides that, looking back on the previous month and what we have coming up for this month, we've been very busy. We've had some really great episodes. I just most recently want to make sure everybody caught the one that came out last week with Marcus Radar from Hostway. It was an incredible interview. I honestly, I still get chills by some of the information that he shared with us. He was just so insightful and just, candid and honest about what companies go through when they're growing, and talking about the other side of that. It's not just about getting the money. It's not just about getting the investment. It's about learning from what you do wrong when you get that money, which is a really interesting tale, because we've seen that in a lot of businesses in our industry, but I don't know that everybody talks about it as candidly as he did.
Yeah, I thought it was really telling about, just the importance of making mistakes. And that, you're going to have to hire the wrong people in order to learn what the right people are like and what that right synergies are like with your staffing. So I think it was really well received, and very positive take on the industry. It wasn't just about the technology that his company is building, but what they are trying to do to change how the business is run. So it was really great. And I appreciated his honesty and willing to share kind of the mistakes that he's made along the way and the learnings. And we talked about the importance of planting seeds, and your statement of return on luck. It's, luck is all about planting those seeds along the way. So that's kind of, I think, our new mantra.
Yeah. It definitely is, when you don't realize it at the time. And, it's funny, so Annie and I went on Will Slicker's show. We just recorded that, and Slick Talk Hospitality. And he asked us about that interview. He said, when have you and Annie planted seeds in your past that you now see coming to fruition? And it was really easy to think of one. When we first met at OPMA conference, which was, I think, 3 or 4 years ago, about this same time of year, and very similar in concept as the Executive Summit we're about to go to, that when we first met there, we had no idea that this was what was going to turn up all these years later. But that was a seed that was planted that, you never know. I mean, every seed that you put in the ground, every conversation, every person that you talk to, it all comes to fruition, and it all comes full circle when you start seeing, you have that you can look back and tell how you're connecting those dots.
Yeah, yeah. And again, I think it was really wonderful to have somebody of his level and his stature within the industry come and just sort of just throw everything out on the table. Like, you know,
Yeah.
these are the mistakes, these are the lessons I've learned, these are the things that people can learn along the way. So it was great. And I know the comments that I've seen and received, it was well received, and we hopefully will have more of those type of interviews. And then prior to that, we had Tracy Johnstone from McDonald's, who, again, she's a hometown person for me. A great conversation about women coming up in business, and kind of the importance of uplifting your teams, and showing them that there is, as she said, there's a up button to your elevator. There should never be a down button. And just, I think it was again, outside of our day to day, not vacation rentals, not the traditional hotel area that we would talk about. But I think that's what we want to do, is we want to diversify and offer pieces of hospitality, because it is a pretty broad topic. So I would say to anybody listening, and anybody that is interested in a topic, let us know, because we want to bring these type of stories and these type of conversations to people, because we can learn from all of these leaders, regardless
Right.
of what
Yeah.
part of the industry that they're in.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. And, when we first started the show, that is something that we identified right away, was that we weren't just going to bring people specifically from vacation rentals or short-term
Mhm.
rentals, that we wanted to talk to people outside of the industry, whether completely outside of the industry or kind of more on the outskirts, but similar somehow related to hospitality, but maybe different than who normally comes on these shows. But I think we've done a good job of diversifying like that. But yeah, Tracy, anybody interested in leadership and growing a business and learning from amazing corporate standards, like she did with McDonald's, and then really overcoming adversity. I mean, she
Yeah.
was diagnosed with breast cancer and made the decision to sell her McDonald's empire. And now on the other side of that, she is doing great, and she's healthy, and the treatments are working. And now she's taking this new chapter of life as her time to give back to people like Annie and I and our listeners,
Mhm.
that she wants to come out and speak and just be a mentor for women and anybody in business or not in business, but that needs somebody to help them. So she was great, very appreciative of her time to come on the show with us too.
Yeah, yeah, and that kind of segues nicely into someone that we just recently interviewed, Margot Schmorack. She's the CEO of Hostfully, and just what a empowered woman who is empowering other women. And we got in a really great conversation with her. Her episode is going to come out next week, but I wanted to just give her a congratulations. Her and her team, they just got $4 million in seed funding.
Yeah, yeah,
Yesterday or last week, and that's just incredible. And so I know that she talks about in the episode some of the challenges of being a woman, being a female CEO, and how that all plays out. And so this is a woman with a lot of drive and determination and tenacity to get it done.
yeah.
And just, again, just could not be more happy for her and her team.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that episode will be out next week, and just really gives a different side of what she has been through, or what women go through when they are in these fundraising rounds, and traditionally meetings where it hasn't in the past normally been a woman that's out pitching at this level. But I think things are changing quite a bit
Yeah.
on that side. And I think investors are looking to invest in women run businesses. But beyond that, I mean, she's an incredible woman, no matter whether she was a woman or
Yeah.
a man, really.
Yeah.
But she does an amazing job. And I think what she brings to the table, talking about just the challenges of she's a mother, and, she has a very busy life with her family, and how she balances that, and how she takes that empathy and learning and applies that to her business and to the people that work for her. So
Yeah.
another incredible leader. And at the end of the day, that's probably, we've said this before, that's the best part of the show, is just talking to these people and being able to hear these stories, that it's so uplifting. I mean, it is definitely the highlight of our day or week whenever we record with
Yeah.
people like this, because it really shows you what leadership should be. And these are 5-star leaders as far as I know.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just had the good fortune to go on another podcast in your market
Yeah.
yesterday. That'll come out sometime in the next couple of weeks.
June 9th. That comes out June
Yeah.
9th.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 So, and what is it's called the
Women your mother warned you
Women.
about. I don't know why they wanted Annie and I on there, but
They did make us admit that we were women that our mothers warned us about.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. That was the first question. I thought,
yeah,
well,
but
I don't
it
know
was a
which
good
mother.
conversation. Yeah, really, truly, it was a good conversation with other women. And again, they're not even in our business. They're
They're
sales
sales
coaches.
trainers. Yeah,
Yeah, sales
yeah,
trainers, sales coaches, and
yeah,
just a great conversation and really dynamic personalities. And I think what we have learned from this podcast is that the more opportunities present themselves in the more conversations that we
yeah,
have, and just having the front row seat to some of these things. And again, I saw the article about Margot and Hostfully yesterday, and it just made me so excited for her. And, it's not
yeah, yeah,
anything that affects me, day to day, but could not be more proud to know all of these people that we have interviewed who are doing really great things, not just for vacation rentals, but for hospitality or their
yeah.
business. And then they're sharing it with us. And again, I think all the things that we're learning just personally and professionally has just been it's been such a blessing and such a great, again, more seeds planted. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, very exciting. So let's see. After that, now, well, do we want to let's share. We've got a couple reviews that we wanted to share.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Uh, so this one is in reference to, this is from Terry White, and I think Terry listens to the show pretty frequently, which we love. Thank you so much, Terry, for your support. He really loved the episode that we had with Ed St. Ange. I don't know how anybody could not like that one.
Yeah, right.
He's amazing. This was episode 28, and Terry wrote on our site, 5 stars. You don't want to miss this one. And it's short and sweet. He says, this one is going to be hard to beat. So thank you, Terry. And he's right. That is going to be a hard one to beat.
We've set the bar high with that. But I think a
Yeah.
nice thing, and Terry, if you're listening, which I believe you probably are, we want to have you on to talk about, because I believe you're now going to be working with Ed and Flip 2 and doing
Yeah.
some things with
Yeah.
that. So we would love to get your take, and maybe you can talk about it from a vacation rental perspective down the road. I did actually reach out to Terry to ask him to be on our show and ask him if he was going to be at the Executive Summit. He's not, but he does want
Oh,
to come on. He's very open to doing it. So I think we give him some time to get through the summer and settle down, and have him on.
yeah, that would be great. And I think to have him come on and tell his experience about
Yeah.
how it's been working with Flip 2. I mean, that's been a super exciting part of the show too, is just connecting our listeners to the people that Annie and I do business with. Yeah, there's just a lot of opportunities there. And we're always open to, if anybody has questions on different types of software vendors, anything. We know a lot of people within the space that cater to both enterprise level businesses as well as small businesses. So
Yeah.
we are happy to make recommendations.
Sure are. And we had another really great review. And this is somebody, at first I didn't know who it was. And then when we finally figured out who it was, it just made us both smile. But 5 stars, 2 of the best. I've had the honor of getting to know these 2 giants in our industry, and I'm impressed with how good this pod is, how great they are and how great they are in person. Annie and Alex are 2 of the most knowledgeable innovators in our business, and it's so cool to watch them crush something new. And that is from Ben Coleman. He is with Wheelhouse, and he has turned into be one of our just greatest friends in the industry. And what a personality.
He is
He's
awesome. I'm so glad that so
yeah.
you introduced me to him when we were at the women's conference. He
Yeah.
was one of the few guys that were there too.
Wow.
And we went to dinner, and God, went to that oyster place. We had the most oysters I've ever seen in my entire life for like 4 people, but we ate them all. And he talked my ear off that night, but we had a ball. He is just he's such a dynamic personality. I mean, he has so much energy, and he's just a lot of fun and very smart, amazing in the revenue space. And just, he's done so many different types of businesses, really entrepreneurial. So super interesting talking to him. And Ben, we appreciate you so much. And just for anybody who has left a review, we've got quite a few of them now, actually. And just thank you. We really appreciate it. If anybody else wants to share any feedback, we'd love to hear it. Any suggestions on content or people you'd like us to interview, let us know. We've got a list of a lot of people coming up, but we can add more people to it. So
yeah. And speaking of kind of what's coming up, we've got Margot out next week. We've got a few other people lined up, but we are going to do a special with a previous guest that we had to talk about hurricane preparedness. So that's one thing that Alex and I both have had, unfortunately, too many too many experiences and having to be prepared, and a lot of learnings come from it. And I think it's never a bad time to talk through that, how you're going to communicate to your guests, your team,
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
owners. You know,
And
and
that's,
again, it's just important. So I think we want to share that and have the conversation.
yeah. And we're blessed here. And Annie, I would imagine it's the same in your area too, but our chamber and CVB are very active in helping businesses prepare ahead of time too. And like, there's all sorts of different classes and things that they put together to make sure everybody has that checklist. And it's not just to be truly prepared, and you're never totally prepared. The checklist is actually much more robust than you would have thought. And I know every year that we went through 5 years in a row in Myrtle Beach that we either had a hurricane or a major water/flood event.
Right.
And the water events were worse than the hurricane or hurricanes that we had.
Yeah.
And everyone's different, but getting that list of items that you need to have ahead of time from marketing and operations perspective is so crucial to keeping things running as smoothly as they possibly can. But, Annie, what you went through in Hurricane Michael, you went through the absolute worst of it. But I think that's the information that we're going to share in this episode. I don't want to spoil it too much. It really lays out what teams need to be thinking about before you get to that point. And I mean, June is hurricane month. So that's why we thought it was timely to bring that content this month. But we'll stop on that. We don't want to ruin it, but that's going to be a good episode. And I think that will be very helpful for people, especially for managers. That we've got a lot of people that listen to the show that they have bought short-term rental properties, that they don't live in those markets. They have teams that operate their housekeeping and their guest services and stuff. And they probably have never been through a hurricane. I hope to God we don't have to go through one, knock on wood, but it's never too late to be prepared.
I just will say this as a side. There is a company that is national and has an inventory in many, many markets. And when Hurricane Michael hit, I had friends that were working for that organization, and they left the team here in the market kind of out hanging in the wind, literally.
Yeah,
Like, just they weren't very helpful, and there was not a lot of communication to guests and a lot of communication to the owners. And I think, again, it just speaks to, you have to have a plan that's going to work with every market, because every market is different. With Hurricane Michael, we had a complete catastrophic breakdown of just infrastructure. We had no water, we had no power, we had no cell phone. I mean, it was really just back to, I think Tracy talked about it on her episode, just going back to the Stone Age. We had to go back to the rudimentary communication with people, and getting outside of our area to be able to communicate with people outside of our area. So there's a lot of learnings that we've all taken from that. So again, an important episode, and hope everybody will listen to that one.
Yeah. Yep. Well, without further ado, I think we need to share our big news, Annie.
Yeah.
So big news. So here at the Executive Summit, and honestly, all of this kind of fell into place timing wise. We didn't really plan it all to happen this way, but again, planting seeds, it just does. We are very excited to have our first sponsor of the show come on, Simon Lehmann himself, the moderator of the VRMA Executive Summit, and pioneer, and as we call him on our episode was it 4 we did with him? The Renaissance man of vacation homes. That's truly what he is. Simon Lehmann and AJL Atelier are coming on as our sponsor for the first of the month bonus episode. And what this is going to be going forward, and you're going to see the first part of it here in just a minute, is on the first of the month bonus episode, Simon is going to come on and talk to us for 5 to 10 minutes about something interesting going on in the industry. And if anybody has a pulse on what's going on, it's Simon. So we are very excited to have him participate in the show. And let's just start it up. Let's do it.
All right, let's go.
All right, here we go. This is Simon Says. Simon, welcome back to the show. We're so happy to have you here today.
It's great to be here, Annie and Alex. Thank you for the invite.
We are very excited to announce that AJL Atelier has come on board as an official brand sponsor of the Alex and Annie podcast. And Annie, do you want to give a little bit of details on what that is going to look like?
Yeah, so again, super excited about this. We've been working with Simon for a couple of years now, created a great friendship. He's been a mentor to both of us. And so we have asked him to be part of our first of the month episode. It will be called Simon Says, and Simon's going to share with us every month something, a nice nugget of either information or what people should be looking out for the upcoming months. But I think for this episode, Simon has something special that he wanted to share for our listeners.
Absolutely. So first of all, we're super excited to support the brand and everything you do, Annie and Alex, for our industry, also with your podcast. And we like to be early movers as well. And being blonde myself, as well as my wife, Christina, being blonde, I think we felt this is a perfect match for us.
We are the blondies together.
They're right. For us to support you guys and do this journey together. In terms of the Simon Says, of course, we're not going to put our hands on the head. We have far more interesting things to do. We want to give some outlooks, and you know, we call ourselves critical thought leader as AGL. So we see certain things that we want to make predictions on, and keep people up to date on what we're seeing also as trends coming towards us. So in terms of announcements, maybe there's a couple of things we can quickly talk about, or you want to talk about the VRMA Executive later. So next week we're moderating the VRMA Executive in Palm Beach in Florida, which I'm extremely excited about, and the program is going to be absolutely mammoth in relation to strategic planning, in terms of resources, human capital. We talk a lot about that as well. We talk about M&A. We talk about financial hygiene, how important that is to have the books in order, and many other amazing topics. And the lineup of the attendance is absolutely mind-boggling, and I'm really looking forward to be among some of the most influential leaders in the vacation rental industry and moderate that conference, which should be absolutely phenomenal. In addition to that, we're also expanding our footprint in the United States, which means we are announcing a cooperation with an investment bank and M&A firm, advisory firm called Raincatcher, based out of Denver, Colorado. We've had several conversations for a while. We're seeing that the M&A activities in the industry are getting more active. And we feel that with our expertise that we bring to the table, combined, us as an industry leader and Raincatcher as an investment bank, I think it's an absolutely incredible winning compilation. We share very similar values in the way we conduct business. We see ourselves as the bridge between the property management company and the potential future. And this is not just focusing on making transactions. We know something like that is far more complex when you consider an exit. You know, what is my succession planning? Who do I have to take over that business with? Is there somebody I have in my own range? Do I want to sell it? Do I want a management buyout? I want to stay on board, but I don't want to carry the entire risk. So maybe I want to have a few shares sold and still stay on. So there's a lot of different things. And they need understanding of the individuals. They need understanding of the human capital, the people's needs. And this is not just about coming in, making a transaction. This is about understanding the person's requirement, needs, and plans, and try to match that with what are the solutions out there for a potential exit, for a potential merger, another acquisition. So it's more financial advisory in the grand scheme of things than just advising on exiting a business in the classical M&A form. Raincatcher is focusing on small and medium businesses in the United States, and that's what we liked about them, because the type of businesses that they transact with are very similar in terms of their origin. They're family owned, they're privately owned, they've been built with blood and sweat. There's a total different commitment of these people towards that asset, and that needs to be taken in consideration, and people need to be made aware of that. And that needs a different way of transacting a business like that than just looking in it from a clear investment banking and M&A standpoint, where the large organization, they want transactions. We want to build relationships and help those people to find the best solution for their exit, whatever that might be. And that is extremely exciting. We've built our brand over time now in the United States. And for us to find Raincatcher as the ideal partner, also what I said before in relation to value and how we value people and how we value the industry, has been a perfect match. And for us, we are very excited at AGL to have this cooperation with Raincatcher, which is Jason Thomas, the COO, and Marlo DiCarlo, the CEO. Great bunch of people. We've already working on a couple of transactions as we speak, which is fantastic. And we're really looking forward to bringing this matchmaking team to the table and to the industry, and do more in the future.
This is so exciting. First of all, congratulations, Simon, and congratulations to all of the team at AJL Atelier. You've kind of been teasing that something was coming for a while now, so we've just been waiting to know, and we're so excited to be able to release that information here today on the show. But just a question for you. So how will businesses engage with you if you're a small company that you want to buy other companies? What is that going to look like from a relationship standpoint? Do they start that relationship with AJL, and then Raincatcher is working in step with you to help identify the businesses, or are you leveraging more your experience and relationships to know what direction they need to go in?
Absolutely, great question, Alex. And I think it's actually both.
Yeah.
But I think primarily it is people approaching us and say, hey, Simon, we need help. Can you help us in potentially exiting the business, or whatever the cause might be, help to clean up the financials, get ready for an exit in a year or two, build some more traction before you want an exit. And that's a nice combination, because we bring the consulting piece to the table, where we can actually help people to get there before the transaction actually takes place. So this is a great combination. But we would feel in relation to Raincatcher that we're coming in first, because we have the relationship, we have the brand in our industry, and we have the recognition through all the speaking engagements and other things we're doing in the industry. So we will build that initial piece of the relation. But interesting to see in the transaction that we're just currently doing in one of the urban markets in the United States, is that when Raincatcher comes on board, it happens very fast that this relationship will go over to Raincatcher as well, while we're overseeing the process. We make sure expectations are being met, timelines are being met, and then it becomes sort of a blend of who's doing what within the transaction. And we obviously know the market on the buy side very well as well. So we're bringing the sell side and the buy side together. And Raincatcher is sort of the connecting piece in the middle to actually run the transaction, make sure the financial analysis in order, that the documentation that we're using for the market is great. We're obviously support that documentation as well for selling the business. But there's a lot of other steps in the beginning. And let us remember one thing: our industry is built on trust, deep down, right? And that also starts with somebody who wants to sell his business. He needs to trust the person. Is he capable? Do I trust him? Can he do what I'm expected? So this relationship piece starts right at the beginning, and we see ourselves more material in that part of the transaction, when then Raincatcher really has a lot of expertise in building a solid process of getting a transaction done in the best possible fashion, with the best possible outcome for the seller as well.
I love the way that, just knowing you've done this very methodically. You've done it over time. It's something that I know you've been wanting to do for quite a long time, is get a footprint in the US. I think that you took the time and you vetted out a partner that was going to be the best strategic fit for you. So we're completely thrilled to be part of this, and so excited for what is yet to come. And again, thank you so much for joining Alex and I on this journey. And we can't wait to see what's next for AJL.
Thank you so much, Annie, and I highly appreciate that. Maybe as a last piece of information to everyone else out there in the industry, might be interesting to know, is that Raincatcher was an inbound, and that made us even more flattered, where we were looking for solutions out there and trying to say, okay, how can we combine our expertise with investment banking and M&A experience? Raincatcher came to us and said, hey, if we want to come into this market, we want to work with AGL, because that will be a great combination. So that makes it even stronger for us while we've been looking out and having different conversations. The inbound interest shown us that we're on the right track in building relationships and trustworthy relationships and a reputation in the industry. And we're really looking forward to bring this to the next level. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm looking forward to supporting you both with your podcast going forward as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Simon. And we are excited to hear you speak at the Executive Summit and get to spend some more time with you, hearing more about everything that AJL has going on. So thank you again, and we will see everybody next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's so awesome. I think we've tried to debate how we were going to bring sponsors on, and we wanted to be creative with what we're doing. And so I think that Simon is fitting exactly into the creative aspect of what we're looking to do and share. And I think the nuggets that he's going to provide along the way are going to be great for everybody. He's announcing obviously his relationship with Rainmaker, which is a game changer for AJL coming into the US. And so we're just really excited to be part of it. So thank you, Simon, and thank you, AJL.
Yeah, thank you, Simon and AJL. We appreciate the partnership as the Alex and Annie brand partner of the first of the month bonus episode. And Annie, we've got to get off to the conference. We've got a lot of interviews to do and people to talk to and running around as we always do at these things. So for anybody that's here, we can't wait to see you. If not, we hope to see you at the next event. In the meantime, if you'd like to contact Annie and I, you can go to alexandanniepodcast.com. If you're listening to the show, be sure to subscribe on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Pandora, any and every possible podcast app that's out there. We are there. So look us up and we will see you next time. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.